Hey, what's up, guys? So today I'd like to talk about computer cases, specifically the Thermaltake Level 20 MT. Um, so I just built a new computer, and I was going to get a new case, so it took me a while to kind of find the one I wanted. Coming from a full tower, I really wanted something smaller. I didn't need so many expansion bays. Um, so I looked around, and a couple of the things that it had to have was it had to be able to support my Noctua NHD 14, and that requires 160 millimeter clearance. Um, and then I wanted to have one with a glass panel. Never had one with a glass panel, and the RGB fans are kind of cool. My motherboard, I have a Asus Crosshair 7 Hero, the Wi-Fi version. Never been into RGB, but decided why not? I've seen some of the cool features, so I decided, those were some of the features I was looking for. Maybe it came with RGB fans, had to have the 160 millimeter clearance, and yeah. So this is what it narrowed down to was this one. It was $100, which was like pretty reasonable. I do like the side panel a lot, and then the front panel here is clear too. You can put I think it supports up to 360 millimeter radiator right there in front, so you could view your radiator right here in front. So that's kind of cool. I live in Alaska, so heating hasn't never really been an issue. So I just throw my Noctua on, and I mean it's silent and it works great. I've had it for several years, and yeah, I'm sold Noctua. That's the way to go for air cooling. So yeah, it was pretty easy to get put together. A little bit tighter than the full size cases, but it does have a lot of these little areas where you can run your cable management. And I'll show a picture of that or a little video of my cable management and how tight I got everything. They basically come out of one of these little side ports and plug directly in. Some are a little bit harder to get to. Uh, since it's a smaller case, but everything turned out really well. Um, let's see, what else? It came with the three 120 millimeter fans that were RGB, and then one of them is not RGB. And these fans are hooked up to a controller that is wired to your case, um, and you basically just has a reset switch on top for the RGB fans, and to get them to sync to your motherboard is you just hold the button down, and they'll basically you hold it down for 3 seconds, and then it'll flash, and then it'll go to motherboard sync, and then you can hold it again and turn off motherboard sync, and then just press the button, and it'll cycle through colors and their different rhythms or whatever that it has. Um, yeah, it's been pretty good. Um, I like it. I like the side panel, how it's open, and then yeah, just it's just a little bit different going to a mid-size tower. But I do like how it's a lot smaller. My other one was a Roseville Thor, and I mean it was like twice as big as this thing. Had no problem with space really, but it's really kind of too big. I only used about half the expansion bays, um, and I mean that wasn't really necessary for having all the all those bays if I'm not using them all. One thing is I like to keep a CD drive for um, drivers or burning or whatever. I do that from time to time. So this thing doesn't actually have a bay for the CD drive, which might not be too big of an issue for some of you guys, but um, you can always just get the external ones, and that's all right. I just basically let the side panel open and plugged in my CD drive while I install the drivers, and then just unplug and close it all back up. But in the future, I'd probably invest in an external one just so I can plug it in, and then just future bills or whatever, it could be pretty handy. And if you're not familiar with Noctua, this is the Noctua NHD 14. Um, it's pretty much the best air cooler that you can buy. I think there's the NHD 15. I'm not sure what the difference is, but they did just come out. If you don't like the ugly colors, they did come out with what they call it, the Chromax, Noctua Chromax, I believe is what it was. And they're black, and I think there might be extra colors, but I mean it's the best air cooler you could buy. Better than most all-in-ones, and then maybe even some custom loops. But I mean, it's big, it's heavy, and it's super quiet. Noctua has like the best fans in the market. But if you're going to upgrade to one, you just have to make sure that you have the right size case. I mean, 160 millimeter high, the width is 140. So depending on your orientation of it, you can have your fans turn to where they're exhausting through the back or through the top of the case. I have mine exhausting through the top. It seems to work better for me. But either way, no matter which way you do it, you got to make sure you get RAM that that this won't run into, basically. So you have to get RAM that is shorter than wherever it is. It'll be on your RAM specs, if it'll fit in there or not. But it's heavy, it's big, but it's super quiet. I've never heard the fans. My video card is the only thing that I hear. And yeah, just make sure, with anything you're going to do your research. And I mean, I researched a long time, and this is the best case for this price range that I found. And yeah, so no, that's not it, but it basically looks kind of like that. It's just Noctua fans, but they have, I think they're black now. But yeah, best air cooler. I'd recommend this for anybody that has the space. If not, they do have smaller ones that aren't the tower coolers. They do have regular ones, but if you have the room, it's definitely worth the money. I bought mine like 5 years ago or so, and it's never had an issue. Clean it up, but I mean that's about it. It works great, and they have the adapters for all socket, all sockets. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Alright, so here's my case without the side panel on it, so we can get a better look. So I just have pretty much all my cables coming out of the closest little port, going directly into where they need to go. So there's minimum cable sticking out. It did a pretty good job. It was a little tight, like I said. I mean, that motherboard's pretty close to the ports for the cables coming out, but I mean, you just take your time and make it good. And it's definitely worth it. You can't really do nothing with these cables up here. These are the ones coming from my front panel, but it's unavoidable. There's nothing I can do about that. But overall, the cable management of this case is pretty good. There is lots of accesses all over. Behind these fans back here, you can't really tell, but there is a few back there that I have my fans running through. So I'd just like to say thanks for watching, and if I helped you out at all or answered any questions, just go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm pretty new to this, but I'll be trying to be adding content as much as I can.